What is going on, YouTube? You can see today we got a Kawasaki Ninja 650. This is a 2025 model, I believe. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Ball and stock, nothing different about it. But we're gonna jump up on it and we're gonna talk a little bit about it, and we're gonna see my initial thoughts and reviews. Don't mind that. It happens to the best of us. Kind of want to see where the 400 and the 500 compare to the 650, because it is kind of a similar bike. It's a twin cylinder. It makes 67 horsepower, which I think is about 15 more than the 500, probably 16 or 17 more than the 400, or at least close to that, right? So the goal is to try and see how this compares, because it does handle very similarly, even though I feel like off rip the rider triangle is like extremely comfortable. That's for sure. Like, it's got a very sport touring style seating position, and it's very comfortable. The seat height is kind of low. I think we're coming in at like 31 inches roughly, which is a little on the shorter side for bikes. If I'm not mistaken, it's a very similar seat height to the 500 and the 400. But we're gonna see what she's got. Yeah, you definitely can feel a torque difference over the 500. The 500 I think makes like 38. This makes like 48.5. So this makes 48.5, and it's at like I think 6,700 RPM. Do you know where you're going? I don't think they know where they're going. Don't put your feet down, don't put your feet down, don't put your feet down, don't put your feet down. Ha 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 ha, we did it! This bike's very easy to keep upright, not gonna lie. That would have been a little difficult on some of the other bikes I've ridden. But yeah, we're coming in at 67 horsepower at 8,000 RPM, which it says it redlines at 10, which is kind of impressive since it's just a 2-cylinder. And it is a 649cc bike, because like the 500 revs out to 10.5 and the 400 revs out to like 11.7 or something like that. So for you to be like more power, more torque, bigger engine, but still only 2 cylinders, to still be able to rev out to 10K, I think that's kind of impressive. I'm not gonna lie. Thank you, sir. We're looking at a 425 pound bike, and I'm not gonna lie, it does not feel like that at all, because I think the 500 comes in at like 380, I want to say, and it feels like the exact same weight. And that may just be the riding position, because the way that I'm sitting right now is super comfortable, but because it's a trellis frame bike, it feels very similar to a 500. It's got that sport touring feel, but it still handles good. Honestly, I feel like I could have started on a 650 instead of a 500. This is like extremely similar, but it has a way better riding position. When I first had sat on a 650, when I was looking at bikes, I didn't like the riding position, but I've grown to appreciate it. And this seat's like super comfy. But I will say, at my height, I'm only 6 foot. I feel very cramped on this bike. Like, I'm as far back on the seat as I can go, and I feel like I don't really have a lot of room. So I'm doing my best to be nice, because this is not something I would typically ride. But I think compared to the 500 or the 400, it's very like you can slide around on the seat a little bit on the 4 and the 5. This one, like, you just feel very planted where you're at. Like, I haven't moved at all when I've got in it at all. It's felt like the same bike no matter what, no matter where I'm sitting. and I can't really move if I get on it, versus the 500, like if you yank the throttle, you kind of slide back a little bit, and it's just a seating position. But realistically, like, this seating position is extremely comfortable. It's got decent power, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure what the top speed is for one of these. I think it's around 130. I'm not testing that, but I will ask ChatGPT or something and be like, yo, how fast theoretically is a stock Ninja C50? And I'm sure it'll tell me. But for now, we're just gonna rip around some of these curvy roads. Yeah, we're coming in at a 31-inch seat height, 67 horsepower, 49 torque is about what it is. And we're at like 8K RPM for peak power and like 6,700 for peak torque. So it still kind of revs out a bit, so you're not just getting punched with torque like in the face as soon as you try it. I think we're actually going to go back down this road because I was supposed to turn back there. Even though I know where I'm at, I went a little bit further than I wanted to. So it gives me a chance to see what this is like in roundabouts. Very similar to the 500. Oh my god, it's really bumpy though. Not sure what they're doing. Yeah, definitely a bit quicker though than the 500. You would expect it. It's got a little bit more power, a little bit more power to get a little bit further, but it's very similar. This is different for sure. It's got a nicer screen. So this is like the 4.5-inch TFT display, I think, and it's very nice. The key position's not bad. I'm used to seeing my keys right here, but honestly it doesn't bother me where it's at. This little fairing piece is kind of cool, and it like hides everything. It keeps all this very tidy. It's actually very appealing visually. And the biggest difference that I could tell you from the 500, the mirrors aren't pissing me off. The mirrors on the 500, they sit so far forward and so far out, they look like they're just in the way no matter where you look, versus this, where your seating position is, where I'm sitting upright, I don't even like recognize that they're there. They're there, and I can use them if I need them, but I don't like, they're not pissing me off because they're like right here in my face. So I can appreciate that for sure. It also looks like it has an option if you do get like get the SE model or something like that. There's probably a Type C port that you could put there. The 500 SE has it, and some of the nicer bikes like an 1100 SX, they have those Type C ports. And I guess that could be useful if you have like a quad lock or something. Although I don't know where you would put a quad lock on here, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure where you would put a phone mount. Yeah, I really don't know where you would put a phone mount. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of places to. I'm curious, if you guys have a 650, where did you mount your phone? I personally don't ride with my phone out or anything like that. I like it in my pocket, and I'd rather just hear the directions than be staring down at a little mini map right here, basically. But I'm curious what you guys say, where you mounted your phone at on a 650. But counter steering feels really solid. The suspension feels very soft. Granted, I did not set it for my rider weight. I'm sure it only has rear adjustable. I don't think it has front adjustable. I don't think it does. No, it doesn't. It's just a rear. But I know you can adjust the preload setting in the rear for your rider weight, and it'll kind of help with the bumpiness and whatnot. So this thing also does have traction control, which is cool. The 500 doesn't have that. It just has ABS. This thing has ABS and traction control. All this stuff. It's got ABS, it's got traction control, and it's got the Kawasaki connectivity thing. And most Kawasaki's, I think all the ones that I've ridden that are newer, have this little like 3-dot thing. And that just means that you're riding economically. It means you're riding with good gas mileage. And right here you can see I filled it up quite a bit, and got 153 miles. Oh, now it says 166 at this rate. So you could definitely get good gas mileage out of one of these. The 500, I think the best I got riding very economically was 180 miles from a full tank, and that was like filling it up to the brim and then riding it till it was almost empty, like light blinking. So these are like very good commute bikes for sure, but you can also get down on them too. Like, these corners feel good, they feel solid. There did, before I started recording, when I was doing a couple wiggles, I know it was because the tire was cold, and I know that's not how you warm up a tire, so don't come at me. I was just trying to see and gauge how the bike feels, and it was very like, it tipped in very nicely, but I think because the tire was cold, it got a little slippery, and or maybe it was just because of the lean angle the traction control came on. So I'm not sure if that could become an issue, like if you were riding really aggressively. So I don't know if that could become an issue if you were riding aggressive, but you could just turn it off. I would assume that's probably what you do. Most people pull ABS and wow, that's a really big bird. They pull ABS and they turn the traction control off when they want to ride really aggressive. That's you know, different for everybody though. I think overall this is a really comfy bike, and I like the power band feels good. But I mean, the only issue you probably run into realistically is like highway riding. But even then, like at 60, you're at like 4,500 RPM. That's not bad. So I'm assuming highway riding, let's get to 70. Yeah, about 5K. That's not bad. I imagine with an exhaust it would be a little drony. And it is a little tugboaty. Like, it has a very like bah, 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 bah sound. It reminds me of a 240 or like a Subaru or something like that. One of those big CC or big cubic inch 4 cylinders where they sound very tugboaty. You guys hear it? It's like. So, I think overall, very good. Very good. I like. It does everything it's supposed to do. It has a decent amount of power, decent amount of torque, and I think this could be very easily learned on. I feel like this would be very easy for someone who is shorter than probably 5'8", and I would say probably like somewhere around the 5 foot to 5'8". You'd probably be really comfortable on this bike. You may have to 1 foot it if you know you don't have like really long legs, but truth be told, even me being a little bit taller, it's not uncomfortable. The seating position is just different for me, so I'm trying not to judge it off of like what I would normally say, because you know I ride different kind of bikes all the time, but like, you know, I don't want to be biased in any sort of way, but this is a very comfortable bike with the seating position and all. So I will say that like the rider triangle is very comfortable. I'm not like the slightest bit uncomfortable at all. So I feel very like planted. It doesn't feel like it's gonna step out or anything weird. Like, it doesn't have a crazy amount of power. I feel like for a commuter bike or something you just rip around every once in a while, this is probably like the perfect thing to buy, because you know it's relatively smaller. It's really good on gas. Look, now it says 170 miles with how I was riding, and you guys see I wasn't like just going 10 mile an hour. You know, I'm flowing with traffic, doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm still getting crazy gas mileage while doing so. So no complaints whatsoever from me, at least in that department, because all my bikes I ride every day, just about, or at least ride a bike almost every day, just about. Doesn't matter what temperature or anything like that. This would be a very good commuter bike. This is comfy. It's got a good upright position. It's still kind of sporty looking. It looks very similar to the 500 and the 400, how they have that like that slant nose. Honestly, oh my gosh, oh, I forgot that I didn't want to go this way because it's fucking bumpy. It's really bumpy. Good, we got plenty of room. U-turn's pretty good too. These style of bikes where they're I forget the actual name, I'll try to find it before, but they have a different fork style than like a super sport. They turn around on top of themselves. They are so good about that. Honestly, it's really nice, I'm not gonna lie. So you can see like the nice green. This has got a nice green color. It looks good. It flows nicely. I like this color. It's not bad. It's, you know, give or take, very green. Overall, though, I'd say my impressions are very positive. Very positive. I like the way this thing feels. It has, like, it's got enough power. It really does. 70 horsepower, or almost 70 horsepower, is a lot more than you think. And I think this thing gets down pretty good. We'll pull over right here and point out some of the things that I like about it real quick. I really like the way this thing feels. Honestly, the tires that are on it, even though this is like really new, they felt good. Feel nice and sticky. They feel nice. I like the exhaust, but I imagine that with a proper exhaust, it might be a little droney, a little tugboaty. But truthfully, like, the styling and everything is very similar to the 500 to 400, and even really close to the ZX6, how it has these like aggressive style fairings and whatnot. But oh, it's a really comfy seat, dude. I imagine this would be really easy to ride with a passenger, but like I said, you see how short the seat is? You're like going nowhere with that. And it has this nice little backrest too. So this thing was extremely enjoyable to ride. And yeah, shout out to the very nice boss lady that let me rip around on this very cool 650. I have not ridden one before, and truthfully, I like it. If I would have ridden a 650 over 500, I probably would have bought a 650 because it's more comfortable. This thing would probably be great on long trips. This was like this was kind of like a decent review. Just me kind of getting my first thoughts and whatnot, and just kind of telling you guys a little bit about the bike. But I appreciate you for watching, and if you made it this far, go hit the like. Go maybe subscribe. Maybe say what's up. Maybe tell me what you like and what you don't like about these things. I appreciate you, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.